This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM, as well as the free iHeart Radio app. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be tuning in on this beautiful, sunny Sunday afternoon. Not quite yet afternoon, it's still 11 o'clock. If you want to call into the show or reach the show, you can feel free to call us at 1-800-TALK-WGY. That's 1-800-825-5949. We're in the WGY studios once again, so we got the WGY phone number, 1-800-TALK-WGY. That's 1-800-825-5949. Feel free to call in. Oh, man, it's a busy weekend, especially here locally. We got the Bills, we got the Jets, we got the Giants. The Syracuse Orangemen got a big win on Friday. A lot going on, a lot happening. And we're here to guide you through. So first of all, I want to start off with the Yankees, who got a monumental victory yesterday. And the reason I'm saying it's monumental is for the simple fact that it's one of those things that can easily turn the events into the hands of the New York Yankees. So the Yankees right now are tied with the Boston Red Sox atop the wild card with just about 7 games to play. The Yankees have 7 games left, I believe. So do the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Mariners, and the Athletics. So all those teams are still vying for a playoff spot. But the New York Yankees, Red Sox, heated rivalry. I think the Red Sox got off to 6 straight wins to begin the season against the Yankees. So something that, when it comes to Yankee fans and Red Sox fans, there's one game you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose a lot of games, but the games you don't want to lose are to your division opponents, especially in a heated rivalry like the Yankees, like the Red Sox. And exactly what happened yesterday. All the momentum was on the Red Sox. They were up 2-0 for most of that game going into the 6th, 7th inning. I believe Brett Gardner scored Brett Gardner got a nice hit, clutch hit. They end up scoring a run on a wild pitch. And then, the rest is history. Giancarlo Stanton does what Giancarlo Stanton does, absolutely tears the cover off the ball over the Green Monster, and the rest is history. So now you got the Yankees and Red Sox atop of the American League wild card run. And you have the Blue Jays 2 games back, the Mariners 3 games back. And this is pivotal. This is pivotal for the New York Yankees to win these games. Because you take a look, they only have a 2-game lead over the Blue Jays. Hence, the Red Sox do too. But the Yankees can control their own destiny. Because after they take on the Red Sox, they got one more game in Fenway. They go ahead and they're going to play the Toronto Blue Jays for a 3-game series. So you're up 2 games. Blue Jays got what it seems like an easy schedule. They got the Twins. Then obviously they go ahead and host the Yankees. And then they play 3, host the Orioles. So that's easy opponent to finish off the season. So these wins are critical for the New York Yankees. Now, as far as my New York Mets, do we really have to discuss the New York Mets? Because at this point, it's redundant. It's ridiculous. The New York Mets had high expectations going into the season. I know they dealt with a lot of injuries. Nothing really ever clicked for these guys, and it showed. In the first half, they were able to overcome injuries. It looked like Luis Rojas was pushing every single button correctly. And then in the second half, they absolutely fell apart. Nothing they did was the right move. Nothing they could do could overcome what would have been the right move. It just seemed like this whole team, especially Luis Rojas, was really under a microscope. And they just faltered. They faltered. There's no other excuse. There's no other reasons. They overcame injuries in the first half. No excuses to not be able to overcome injuries in the second half. And I was under the belief that I thought Luis Rojas absolutely did an outstanding job coaching this or managing this Mets team in the first half. And then, to let a team fall apart like that in what I consider a weak NL East, absolutely is not only stunning, but disappointing. And I think this is the part where you end up parting ways with Luis Rojas. Remember, you got a George Steinbrenner type of owner now that wants to win. So I don't think that's going to cut it. I don't think it's going to cut it. I think Luis Rojas is done. But yes, absolutely, the New York Yankees getting a great win yesterday, getting a great win the day before. Absolutely need to continue this momentum because they're only 2 games up on the Blue Jays, and then they go to travel to Toronto, and they have to face them in a 3-game series. But this is a team, when they are on, they are absolutely on. This is a team that you can't quite count out of a World Series run. And I know it sounds crazy. In the middle of the season, we're like, what are you talking about? The Yankees are done. They're over. They're toast. But this is a team, when they are hitting, when they're firing on all cylinders. I was watching the game yesterday, and I made a joke right before Gardner had that huge hit. I'm like, man, this kid is still playing. This dude is still playing. And he comes up with a clutch hit and down the right field line and absolutely gets the Yankees in scoring position. They end up getting 1 run out of that. And then obviously Giancarlo Stanton. That's one way to earn love from the Yankees fans. I know they've had a love-hate relationship, but anytime you can crush a game-winning grand slam over the Boston Red Sox, that's a great way to get fans to reignite their fandom for Giancarlo Stanton. And as long as he's hitting, as long as this team's hitting, this team can go a long way in winning a World Series. Now, obviously, you got to get in first. So these next 4 games are critical. These next 4 games are critical. You have the Red Sox, and then you travel to Toronto. You have to win that series. 2 out of 3, at least, from Toronto. Put them out of their misery. Because Toronto is also a team, when it comes to hitting, when they're hot, they're hot. But you have to put them out of the misery. You have to put them behind you. And it starts with 1 more game against the Boston Red Sox, and then you got that critical 3-game series against Toronto. And like I said, I don't really want to talk about the Mets. We're not going to talk about the Mets. This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM, as well as the free iHeartRadio app. We're also broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So if you have any of those, feel free to check us out. We're streaming live. Feel free to comment, and then during the breaks, I'll get to the comment. Real quickly, I want to touch on this Giants team. This Giants team, now 0-2 on the season, lost a very winnable game Thursday night against the Washington football team to back up Taylor Heineke. And going into this season, after last year, and I know it was a weak NFC East, but after last year, Joe Judge helping this team make a push late in the season for the NFC East title. And if it wasn't for a absolutely debauchery from the Philadelphia Eagles, we might have seen the New York Giants win the NFC East last year and be in the postseason. But now that kind of bumps up the expectations of what we expect for the New York Giants. And so far, they have not even come close to what we expect from this team. 0-2 on the season. But guess what? The perfect medicine for being an 0-2 football team, for not being able to get the offense on track, the perfect medicine is playing the Atlanta Falcons. Because if you've seen what the Philadelphia Eagles were able to do to the Atlanta Falcons in week 1 and what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to do to the Falcons in week 2, that smells for a perfect home cooking recipe to get this Giants team back on track. Oh, and not to mention, Eli Manning's jersey retirement takes place today at halftime. So if that doesn't get this Giants team riled up, if that doesn't get this Giants team back on the right track, I think you're going to see a team that makes changes. And you're not going to fire your coach week 3. You're not going to sit Daniel Jones week 3. There's only one other move to really make, and I think that means David Gettleman's gone. If they don't win this game, if they don't at least look very good, just throw that out the window. They don't need to look good. They need to win. If they don't win, I very well think that David Gettleman should be gone, should be fired. I don't care that it's week 3. You know what? That just gives you a head start on finding your next GM. Because you can win in season without your general manager. The general manager's there for off-season stuff. Now, yes, he does add to the end of the roster, the 53-man roster. You add a player here, you cut a player there. But we're talking about the heart and soul of this team. The general manager is not going to make very many moves for the heart and soul of this team. The 22 that start every single week. He's not going to affect in season very much. So if they don't win this game, if they don't look good winning this game, I absolutely see David Gettleman being the first to go. Now, what does that spell for Joe Judge? We're going to take it one step at a time because remember, David Gettleman attached his pony, attached his wagon, his pony, whatever you want to call it, to Joe Judge and to Daniel Jones. And if those two don't work out, David Gettleman's going to be the one that pays. And it's crazy to see the roller coaster ride of the New York Giants and the New York Giants fans where it was Gettle gone, Gettle God, Gettle gone, back and forth. Yes, he made a great trade. Even though Kadarius Toney has yet to pay off, not many rookie wide receivers come into the league and make an immediate impact. It hasn't paid off yet. They haven't found the right way to get Kadarius Toney the ball. Hey, if you look at the stats, I believe me and you have more receiving yards than Kadarius Toney. But he did net himself another first round. He did make some solid offseason acquisitions the last 2 years. But what is David Gettleman famous for? What is his go-to thing? Hog mollies. That's what he calls them. Hog mollies. This offensive line has been atrocious, abysmal, whatever disastrous word you want to use to describe this offensive line. I'm not even a Giants fan, and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for this Giants team that lacks any continuity among this offensive line, any solid play along this offensive line. And it's disturbing. It's disturbing that this New York Giants team has not been able to get on track. The offensive line, the one thing that David Gettleman's supposed to be good at, has been abysmal. If they don't look good against the Atlanta Falcons, if they don't win that game against the Atlanta Falcons, David Gettleman has to be gone. Get a head start on looking for your next general manager because he's not going to make that much of an impact. And if you want to call into the show, once again, 1-800-TALK-WGY, 1-800-825-5949. Real quickly, if they don't beat the Atlanta Falcons, if they don't get a win on board, they're 0-2 right now. Let me just tell you about the games that they're coming up to face. At the New Orleans Saints, at the Dallas Cowboys, home against the Rams, home against the Panthers that have looked very good, 3-0 so far. And then at the Chiefs, home versus the Raiders, at the Buccaneers. Just to go through a little bit of their schedule. That's disastrous. That's disastrous. That's a difficult schedule. This is as much as a must-win for the New York Giants as you could expect in a Week 3 game. And with Eli Manning's jersey retirement, with the crowd should be amped up, there is absolutely no excuse for the Giants not to win this game. This is For the Love Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM, as well as the free iHeartRadio app. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be tuning in. You want to check us streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Twitter is ZachFS980, ZachFS980. Also, check it out, For the Love Sports, Facebook, FoxSports980.com, all that stuff. We're here, we're live, we're local, and we're expecting a Giants win. Coming up in 4 minutes, we're going to play an early preview of Buy, Sell, or Hold. I know we're going into week 3, but there's already a couple of things that I've seen that I've liked, that I didn't like, and that I still need to see more. We'll get into that next. This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM.
I was talking with my neighbor Lisa the other day about getting LASIK, and she suggested LASIK Plus. Said they were the best. I told Megan, my friend Gary told me about LASIK Plus.
Oh, man. If you can't win on Eli Day, then don't even bother showing up to work on Monday or Tuesday because, yeah, that's disturbing. That is absolutely disturbing. Good thing you didn't buy early on that Daniel Jones jersey, Zach. What do you think? Dave Gettleman should be gone if they don't win today? Absolutely horrible offensive line play. Don't call them hog mollies if you ain't going to pick any up. Got about a minute left until we get back at it. Buy, sell, or hold. Coming up. Gettleman and Garrett. I agree. I completely forgot. Garrett, definitely. Daniel Jones is what Daniel Jones is. He needs a creative play caller to help him succeed. Not saying you can't win with him. He just needs that particular play caller that can help him. Garrett's basic. That girl at Starbucks with the scarf and the Ugg boots and the pumpkin spice, that's Jason Garrett and his play calling. Agreed. He hasn't been the issue.
5.9 FM.
This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM, as well as the free iHeartRadio app. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be tuning in. 980 AM, 95.9 FM, the free iHeartRadio app. Or if you're streaming us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, we appreciate the stream, checking in. Feel free to leave a comment. I'll get to it during the breaks. If you want to get into the show today, feel free to call in. Numbers ticking down there at the bottom of the stream. Also, for those of you listening on the iHeartRadio app or your radio, 1-800-TALK-WGY, 1-800-825-5949. We're here once again in the WGY studios, getting closer to our brand new studios. I am excited. I've taken a look over there. It looks great. I can't wait to get inside of it. But today, you want to call in 1-800-TALK-WGY, 1-800-825-5949. Now, I know we're going into week 3. I know it's very early in the NFL season, but there's just some things I cannot help myself with, and that's playing buy, sell, or hold. Now, I know it's early, but there is already things that I see from particular teams that I like, that I don't like, or that I just need to see a little more from. And I'll tell you right now, when you take a look at the landscape of the NFL, there's 32 teams. Going into week 3, I mean, my buy, sell, or hold is exactly where you would think it would be. You buy about a third of the league. You're holding on to about a third of the league. And then the rest of the league, you're kind of just cutting off because you know exactly what you're going to get from them. You know exactly what's going to happen. You don't need 17 games to figure these teams out. And that's what buy, sell, and hold is all about. Because there's certain teams that early on in the season, you still see something. You still see something. So let's get into it. Sell. Buy, sell, or hold. We're going to start in the AFC, and let's start with the Las Vegas Raiders. And you know what I'm doing with the Las Vegas Raiders? That's right. I'm holding on to the Las Vegas Raiders because this is a team that has talent, that's built the right way through the NFL draft. I mean, they've reached on some players, but they got high character guys. The Las Vegas got high character guys. Now that they got John Gruden's team there, now that John Gruden has his team there, I think enough can't be stated with the way that Derek Carr has played. I think if you date back to last year, the end of last year, Derek Carr's thrown for 325 yards or more in the last 4 or 5 games that he's played dating back to last year. So I think he's finally peaking. He's finally seeing him turn back to corner to when he played like that MVP before he got injured going into the postseason. I think the Raiders defense is playing a lot better. I think John Abrams has a lot to do with that moving forward. I think they've added some pieces on the defensive line that's helped create pressure, something that they've lacked the last handful of years ever since they traded their star in Khalil Mack. But I still need to see more. I'm not buying into the Raiders. I'm holding on to them for the simple fact that we've all been burned the last couple of years. I think last year they got off to a 6-2 start or something ridiculous like that before they faltered towards the second half. So I'm going to hold on to the Raiders because I do like what I see. I do think that Derek Carr is playing at a not just a competent level, but a winnable level. I think this defense has been playing a lot better, but I also feel like they're still playing above their means. So I'm just going to hold on to the Raiders right now. That leads me into the Denver Broncos, who are 2-0 in the season. And I can't buy into them. I can't buy into them. I'm going to hold on to the Denver Broncos as well. I think this is a great defensive team. Last year, they had injuries on the defensive side of the ball, very inconsistent quarterback play. They dealt with COVID. We thought Drew Lock was going to be the answer. Obviously, he was very inconsistent. But the Denver Broncos got back to their roots. You have Vic Fangio, the defensive guy, as your head coach. They got back to their roots. Great defensive play and a quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over. But for that reason, for Teddy Bridgewater being the starting quarterback, I don't know if I can ever buy into this team, but I want to hold on to him because I do believe in the defense. Defense does win championships, but you need a playmaker at the quarterback position, and that's been shown time in and time out. Why do you think the Colts went to get a guy like Carson Wentz? Now, I know he's injured, but he has played well in 2 games. Why do you think the Rams went out and got Matt Stafford? Why do you think that the San Francisco 49ers wanted to go ahead and look at Aaron Rodgers and then ended up taking a quarterback number 3 overall, Trey Lance? You need playmakers to win in this league. Yes, defense does help win championships, but you need playmakers at the quarterback position. And for that reason, and only that reason, I'm holding on to the Denver Broncos because this is a Super Bowl caliber defense, but I don't even think this is a playoff caliber offense. And until Teddy Bridgewater shows me a little bit more than just being a less than a game manager, I can't buy in yet. Now let's go real quickly. Baltimore Ravens, 1-1. But guess what? That's right. I'm buying into the Baltimore Ravens for the simple fact that they finally got over the hump. They finally got over their Patrick Mahomes hump. They've dealt with a ravish of injuries, but yet through it all, Lamar Jackson continues to impress. He's improved as a passer. I still think he has a lot more room to improve as a passer, but he's definitely gotten better. He had the accuracy issues. He had a complete games last year, completing at a high percentage, but I don't think he played very well situationally. But against the Kansas City Chiefs late in that game, I thought he showed a lot. Thought he showed great veteran presence, really had great command of the offense, and just has played a lot better than we expected. Remember, the league was supposed to figure him out this year, but so far, even though they're 1-1 with a tough, nail-biting loss against the Raiders where they really shot themselves in the foot, this is a real Baltimore Ravens team. Let's go to the Buffalo Bills. Now, consider me a little homer on this one. Buying into the Buffalo Bills. Now, consider me a little bit of a homer on this one. But Josh Allen, I still believe can be MVP of the league this year. Now, the Bills have gotten off to a little bit of a slow start. I thought they got back on the right track last week, and I think they're going to continue that this week. I know they have a tough matchup against the Washington football team, who has a very good defense, but this defense hasn't played that great this year. Early in the season, teams are still trying to figure out what they have and what they are, and the defense hasn't played up to the caliber that it did last year. And I think there's a lot of holes in that secondary that Josh Allen can expose. I'm buying into the Buffalo Bills because when you have an MVP at quarterback, it's difficult not to buy into him. Tennessee Titans. That's right. I'm holding on to the Tennessee Titans. The reason I'm holding on to the Tennessee Titans is because I still don't know if Ryan Tannehill can be that quarterback I need when times get rough. And I'll probably hold this Tennessee Titans team through the whole season, all the way into the postseason, unless Ryan Tannehill shows me in situational plays, whether it's third and medium, third or long, obvious passing plays, where everybody knows that you need to pass the ball. And you can competently complete passes on third and medium, third and long, situational plays. I'm not going to be able to buy into the Tennessee Titans until Ryan Tannehill can show me that. You could show me all the stats that says, oh, since he's joined the Titans, he's played at an elite level, an MVP level, whatever stats you want to show me. My favorite saying is, stats are like bikinis. While they reveal a lot, they don't quite reveal everything. And I think that goes a long way in explaining Ryan Tannehill, because this obviously is a team that runs on the heels of their run game. And when their run game isn't going, I don't think they have enough competence to be able to put the ball in Ryan Tannehill's hand and say, hey, go win us a game. And until proven otherwise, I'm going to continue to hold on to the Tennessee Titans. Pittsburgh Steelers. Buy, sell, or hold. That's right. I'm holding on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The reason I'm holding on to the Pittsburgh Steelers is because I don't know what I'm going to get from Big Ben later in the season when it starts to get colder. Is that shoulder going to hold up? It looks good through 2 weeks. But here's the issue. Big Ben, for whatever reason, gets nicked up through the regular season, takes hits that are unnecessary, holds on to the ball too long. We've seen it time and time again in his career. And he gets nicked up and bruised up and beat up throughout the regular season. It's not about the regular season. It's about the postseason. It's about that Lombardi trophy. And until he can make it to the postseason more healthy than he has been in the past, it's difficult to buy into the Steelers team. You saw last year when the arm strength wasn't there, when he wasn't able to push the ball down the field with consistency. Teams sat. Defenses sat on this play on these plays, on these play calling. They were able to come up with big plays. You saw it with the Cleveland Browns in the postseason. We're going to move a little quicker. Kansas City Chiefs. I'm buying into the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm a little worried about the Kansas City Chiefs because I do think they have holes. I still think this is an offensive line that's trying to continue to get continuity. They completely changed the complex of the offensive line from last year to this year, tried to make a weakness into a strength, and I think they did do that. But it takes a little time for this offense to gel. It takes a little time for this offensive line to gel. They're learning one another. You also got to remember you have a quarterback that likes to scramble behind you, which makes blocking a little bit different. So I'm buying with caution. And the reason that I'm buying is because this is a long-term outlook. I'm buying for the future. So this is one of those that, hey, I have a little reason for pessimism, but I'm buying in because I know what this team can be long-term. Miami Dolphins, selling them. I was a big fan of this team last year. I thought they had great special teams play, great defensive play. I thought their offense needed more explosive players, more explosive plays, and they went ahead and they got explosive players. But Tua, once again, goes down with another injury between the hip injury, the rib injury. What can we get from Tua? Is he ever going to be the same? Are we ever going to be able to get explosive plays? Now, I think the world of Jacoby Brissett as a backup. I don't know what he can be moving forward as a starter. And for at least the next 3 weeks, you're going to see Jacoby Brissett. I think he's going to be able to keep this team afloat, maybe win 1 out of the 3 games, 2 out of the 3 games. But ultimately, you need to see what you're going to get from Tua. You need to see more explosive plays from this Miami Dolphins. I'm going to sell on them because I don't think they can create that explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball to be able to win consistently, especially with a AFC East that looks like it's going to be rather tough, with the Patriots looking like they're back, with the Buffalo Bills there, and then you have the Miami Dolphins. This AFC is tough. You're not just going to have to win. You're going to have to win a lot. And for that reason, I'm selling the Miami Dolphins. Cleveland Browns, here's the shocker. I'm going to hold the Cleveland Browns. I know a lot of people are high on the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to hold on the Cleveland Browns because I need to see more consistency from Baker. Now, I know he's thrown for a ridiculous 80% of his passes have been completed. Do you really think he's going to keep that up? No. And once again, like I said with Ryan Tannehill, I need to be able to see more from my quarterback. I need to be able to see my quarterback make big plays when big plays are asked of him. It's great to have a run game. It's great to be able to lean on a run game. But when the going gets tough, can the tough get going? I need to see more from Baker Mayfield. New England Patriots. I want to hold on to the New England Patriots because I think Bill Belichick did a great job, a very underrated job last year, if you can believe it or not, when we're talking about Bill Belichick. They went 7-9 last year with an abysmal team. They got a lot of players back. They added a lot of players. I thought they added 2 of the best tight ends on the market in free agency. I think continuing to grow with Mac Jones, a young quarterback that's not going to make a lot of mistakes. But I'll tell you this, as an Alabama fan, he has an underrated arm. He can absolutely crush you deep if you're not aware of it. But Mac Jones continuing to learn the offense, continuing to learn the playbook, and continuing to get comfortable in a Bill Belichick system. We've seen many smart, intelligent players come in this system and be unable to pick it up and have rough first years or not be able to make it with the Patriots organization. I think Chad Ochocinco is one of those names that go a long way in just kind of explaining how difficult it is to just hop on the Patriots bandwagon and be able to enjoy the system and the fruits of their labor. Los Angeles Chargers. I'm buying this team. I am buying this team. The Los Angeles Chargers are my Buffalo Bills this year. I bought into the Buffalo Bills early, 1 week in, when I saw how great Josh Allen played week 1 last year. That's how I'm feeling about this Los Angeles Chargers team. And it's not necessarily about Justin Herbert. It's about this defense. This defense looks ravishing. I'm in love with the Chargers defense. Derwin James is going to remind the world of why maybe you don't want to call him Aaron Donald like, but he's absolutely a player that you need to game plan for. When you are on the offensive side of the ball and you are staring down Derwin James, who can play safety, corner, linebacker, when he is all over the field, when he can rush the passer, when he can come up and make tackles on running back, when he can limit gains after the catch. He is a guy that flies around the ball and you need to game plan for. And I am buying into the Los Angeles Chargers, not just because Justin Herbert, but mainly because Derwin James and this defense. You got Bosa, you have Asante Samuel Jr., you have Derwin James. They finally have playmakers that late in games can create the kind of turnovers that could change the momentum of a game. Cincinnati Bengals, I'm selling the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't care that Joe Burrow looks like he's going to throw for a ton of yards. I don't care that Jamar Chase shook off his dropsies in the preseason to look like a very good wide receiver. This offensive line still has issues. This defense still has issues. I can't buy into this team because I don't think Joe Burrow has enough talent to be able to overcome all the deficiencies for the Cincinnati Bengals. And that's okay because not a lot of quarterbacks can overcome a deficiency of a team. Not everybody's Patrick Mahomes. Not everybody's Lamar Jackson. Not everybody's Aaron Rodgers or one of these elite players that can overcome the deficiencies and the weaknesses of their own team. Houston Texans, no reason to tell you, just selling. Jets, sell. I think we all know why. Indianapolis Colts, I'm going to hold on to. I think it's early in the season. I think this offensive line needs to play a lot better. I think the run game needs to get going, which also would help the offensive line and help the pass game. I think Carson Wentz has played well through 2 games, but I do need to see more from Carson as well. Careless turnovers aren't going to help you win games, and kicking field goals don't help you win games either. Then Jacksonville Jaguars, sell. Real quickly, we're going to get through the NFC. Carolina Panthers, I'm going to hold on to them. I think I need to see more from them. Sam Darnold needs to continue to grow as a quarterback. And this defense lost a big piece on the defensive side of the ball. Their first-round pick goes down with a broken foot. What is that going to mean for this defense? I need to continue to see more from the defense. San Francisco 49ers, I'm going to buy into the 49ers. I think this 49ers team has been built correctly, and Jimmy Garoppolo is a very good quarterback. I think he's a quarterback you can win with. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with him, but I do think you can win games with him. I think you can win a division with him. I just don't know if you can win big in the postseason. And I know he made it to the playoffs, but a lot of that had to do with the run game, the run scheme of Kyle Shanahan and taking a lot of pressure off of Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why I'm going to buy into this team, because when you talk about a team concept, that's absolutely what you get with the 49ers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, buy. I don't think there's an explanation needed there. Los Angeles Rams, same thing, buy with them. Arizona Cardinals, hold. I don't know if this air raid attack is going to be able to win in the postseason. That's why I'm going to hold with the Arizona Cardinals. Washington football team, I think they have struggles at the quarterback position. I do like Taylor Heineke, but he hasn't played enough. I don't know what he can be long term. And I'm afraid the more you play him, the more he gets exposed. So I'm going to hold on to the Washington football team. I'm going to buy the Green Bay Packers. I know they're a little down on the Green Bay Packers. I know Aaron Rodgers hasn't played Aaron Rodgers-like, but that's going to change at some point. At some point in the season, you're going to see vintage Aaron Rodgers. I just don't know why, when yet. I'm going to buy onto them. New Orleans Saints, hold. Simple reason, Jekyll and Hyde from the quarterback position. Jameis Winston's hot, he's cold, he's hot, he's cold. I don't know what I'm going to get from him, so I'm going to hold on to them. Philadelphia Eagles, selling on them. I think this is a rebuild year. I think they can compete. I think that they can surprise some teams. I just don't buy into them. I'm going to sell on them. Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to buy on them. I think this defense is a lot better than it has been in the past. The offense is an elite offense, and Dak Prescott has looked like he didn't even miss a beat after that injury last year. Chicago Bears, I'm going to sell on the Chicago Bears. Even if Justin Fields is the answer, I just don't like having a rookie quarterback have that much pressure on him, especially with a bad offensive line. They have a little bit of talent around them, but not enough to overcome the deficiencies on the offensive line. Seattle Seahawks, I'm going to buy into them. Russ is cooking. I know we saw it last year, and he fell off last year. I'm buying into him because Russ is cooking more than he ever has in his entire NFL career. I think his QB rating is somewhere like 147, something ridiculous that hasn't been done in the first 2 games of an NFL season ever. Detroit Lions, sell, no reason. Vikings, sell, you don't need a reason. Falcons, sell, you don't need a reason. This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM. That was buy, sell, or hold. We'll do that quarter way through the season, halfway through the season. Each quarters, we're going to take on buy, hold, or sell. Coming up in 4 minutes, tomorrow's headlines today. We're going to go through 6 headlines that I believe when you wake up Monday morning, that's what you're going to read in your area of the paper. Buy, sell, hold. Great game. Look forward to playing it. But coming up next, tomorrow's headlines today. This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM.
So, you know what?
Oh, man. That was long. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. Always feel free to call in. Going to get back to it in about a minute or so. Like I said, I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Sunday fun day. I know you got a lot to do. We're going to get back to it in about a minute. We're going to get into tomorrow's headlines today. A little bit of a homerish start to it, but there's some picks that I think you might like. All right, we got about 10, 15 seconds, then we're going to get into it. Tomorrow's headlines today.
Fox Sports 980 and 95.9 FM.
This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM, as well as the free iHeartRadio app. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be tuning in on this beautiful, sunny Sunday. You got chores to do. I would go ahead and do them outside now because football starts in just under an hour and a half. So get your chores done, get them out of the way. Now I want to introduce a new segment that I'm going to do every single Sunday. Obviously, the show being Sundays at 11 a.m., we get to jump. We get to preview some games. We get to break down some games. But we also get to foreshadow what might happen today at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever NFL game may be on. So I'm going to introduce this new segment. Now, I did take it from The Herd, which you can hear right here on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM at 12 o'clock Monday through Friday. He does a segment that he likes to call Tomorrow's Headlines Today, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that because he does it on a Friday. I'm doing it on a Sunday, so it is legit tomorrow's headlines today. So when you wake up on Monday morning after a football-filled Sunday, these are some of the headlines that I believe you're going to read. Let's start with my homers, my New Yorks. I'm going to give you every single week, unless it's a bye week, I'm going to give you 3 New York ones. So that means the Bills, the Jets, and the Giants. And then I'm going to give you 3 non-New York ones. So let's start with the New York ones. This is tomorrow's headlines today. The Bills wash out the competition. Buffalo Bills pour on the Washington football team in a blowout victory. I think right now Rivers Casino has it at -7.5. You know, if you're a betting man, that might be a good bet to take because I do believe the Bills wash out the competition. And that's tomorrow's headline today. The Bills wash out the competition. Bills pour on the Washington football team in a blowout victory. Now, here's a homer pick if I ever heard one. And I like it because it has a great ring to it. It would make it for a great New York Post headline. Mile High Miracle. Zach Wilson shocks the football world and leads the Jets to a big win in Denver in the Mile High City. I don't think it's too crazy to think that you can't read in the Monday morning New York Post Mile High Miracle on the back page. Because this is a beatable team. They just need consistent offensive line play. And they need Zach Wilson to learn to live another down. So you don't necessarily need to throw the ball just to throw the ball. It's okay to throw an incompletion as long as you're not throwing the ball away. You can't give away the ball. You can't give away interceptions. All right, tomorrow's headlines today. If I were to write in the New York Post, if I'm writing my headline right now before the games are played, tomorrow's headline today, the Giants retire the Falcons. Giants feed off Eli Manning's jersey retirement and get their first win of the season. All puns intended. If you want to get in touch with the show, we will take phone calls. We got a couple minutes left. 1-800-TALK-WGY, 1-800-825-5949. Got a couple more tomorrow headline today. Justin has a field day in Cleveland. I think Justin Fields shows flashes of potential in a loss against the Cleveland Browns, but I do think the Bears fans finally feel some type of energy as a Bears fan. They finally think, hey, we thought Jay Cutler was the real deal. Now it looks like Justin Fields could be the real deal. So tomorrow's headlines today, Justin has a field day in Cleveland. Next one, Chargers shock the Chiefs. Now, as crazy as this may be, and as wrong as I may look, the Los Angeles Chargers shocked the NFL world as the Chiefs lose their second straight game in their second game in September since Andy Reid has taken over as the Kansas City Chiefs head coach. I just think this defense is going to be able to slow down Patrick Mahomes. They're going to have to lean on the run game, and we haven't been able to see that from the Chiefs this year yet. Chargers shock the Chiefs. Tomorrow's headlines today. Last one, Steelers tame the Bengals. Vintage Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense are able to tame the Bengals and secure a nice division win. So once again, real quickly, I want to go over the headlines before I get into my last segment. Tomorrow's headlines today. The Bills wash out the competition. Mile High Miracle. The Giants retire the Falcons. Justin has a field day in Cleveland. Chargers shock the Chiefs. And Steelers tame the Bengals. That is tomorrow's headlines today. Coming up in 4 minutes, my NFL pick sixes of the week. And we're taking phone calls, 1-800-TALK-WGY, 1-800-825-5949. See you in 2 quick minutes.
Welcome.
Fox Sports. Hey, what's up? Good, how you been? Yeah, you mind hanging on and you can come on air real quick and then we'll talk about it real quick? All right, I'm going to put you on hold. All right, Mike? All right, thanks, man. Got about 30 seconds left real quickly. Going to touch on my NFL pick sixes. I wasn't here week 2, so I didn't give my picks, but I did go 4-1 in week 1, or 4-2 in week 1. All right, getting ready to go now.
This is Fox Sports 980 and 95.9 FM.
This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM, as well as the free iHeartRadio app. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be tuning in. We got a couple minutes left. If you want to call in the show, you still can. 1-800-TALK-WGY, 1-800-825-5949. And before I get into my NFL Pick 6 picks of the week, we have a call all the way from Louisiana. Big Green Bay Packers fan. Michael on the line. Mike, thanks for joining the show. And I know you're a big Green Bay Packers fan. How are you feeling going into a game against the San Francisco 49ers that look good defensively? Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to take your call off air. I'm going to let you know what I think, but appreciate the phone call, and thanks for tuning in, man. You too. Calling all the way from Louisiana, big Green Bay Packers fan, and this is my take on this. You need to see vintage Aaron Rodgers. Through 2 games, he's thrown for less than 400 yards combined, and that's not the way that the Green Bay Packers win games. Now, in order for them to be able to get going, I think you need to lean on that run game. I think they need to get the run game going because a lot of what they do from an offensive standpoint is working off the play action, pre-snap motions, a lot of that. And I haven't felt the sense of urgency from this Green Bay Packers team. I think they have a lot more to show, and they just haven't shown it through 2 weeks. If they're going to win this game, you need Aaron Rodgers to show his pinpoint accuracy, be able to beat guys downfield, make consistent throws downfield. Because if you take a look at that Eagles and 49ers game, there was a lot of weakness on the outside that Jalen Hurts was unable to take advantage of. Now, when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers who can not only extend plays, but has pinpoint accuracy, I think that bodes well for the Packers. Now, obviously, you have injuries on both sides. Talked about the offensive line injuries. Same thing for the 49ers. They got injuries in their secondary. They got injuries in their backfield. And this is going to be who can control the line of scrimmage the best? Can the 49ers get pressure after Aaron Rodgers, get him off his mark, and make sure that he can't beat them down the field, can't make those throws down the field? Or will this offensive line hold what they can do and give Aaron Rodgers the time to be able to make those plays? This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM, as well as the free iHeartRadio app. Real quick, my pick six picks of the week. Week 1, I went 4-2. Was unable to give my picks last week because I did go to the San Francisco 49ers game and devastated a little bit as an Eagles fan. Lost the game, but that's all right. Week 3, still got time to make it down to Rivers Casino, or if you're out of state and you can legally gamble online, there's still time. But these lines are straight from Rivers Casino right here in the capital region. My first pick is Chicago plus 7.5. I do think Justin has a field day. Yes, I'm going to use that pun once again. But Chicago plus 7.5 against the Browns team. I don't think the Browns team knows what they're going up against in Justin Fields. While there is weakness with this Bears team, I do think that the Bears will be able to defensively, offensively, be able to hang in there with the Browns. I do think they ultimately lose the game, but Bears plus 7.5 is ultimately a great pick for me. Indianapolis Colts plus 5.5 over the Tennessee Titans. Now, the reason I'm going 5.5, I know Carson Wentz may or may not play. I know he's got 2 sprained ankles, but this is a team that needs to rely on the run game. Titans rely on the run game. I don't think you're going to see that many explosive plays. Derrick Henry has a history of running for over 100 yards against opponents within the division. I think they're going to lean heavily on Derrick Henry. It's going to be one of those grind-out games. That's why I'm predicting a close game, but I do think Tennessee still wins. But I think Indianapolis has what it takes to keep it within 5.5. Los Angeles Chargers, I already predict that I think this could be an upset. So Chargers plus 6.5. Absolutely a no-brainer for me. If I think they're going to be an upset, plus 6.5. New York Giants get back on the right track, minus 2.5. Steelers minus 2.5. Seattle minus 2.5. This is For the Love of Sports on Fox Sports 980, 95.9 FM. Thank you.
The sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
All right, so 4-2 in week 1. I always say that I put the curse on it, the radio announcer's curse. So whatever I say, you might want to do opposite. There's still time to make it down to Rivers Casino before the 1 o'clock games. Chicago plus 7.5. I think Justin Fields is going to have a very good game against the Cleveland Browns. Ultimately, I do feel like they lose that game, but they can keep it within 7.5. The Indianapolis Colts, I said plus 5.5. And the reason for that is because Derrick Henry has shown the ability to run all over divisional teams. And I think this is going to be a run-oriented game with Carson Wentz injured. I feel they're going to have to lean on their run game. Whether Carson starts or not, they're going to have to lean on the run game. Tennessee Titans are at their best when they lean on the run game. So I feel this is going to be a run-oriented game, which makes for a grind-out game. That's why I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts plus 5.5. Next is the Los Angeles Chargers plus 6.5. Now, this is just something that I feel is going to happen. This is something that I just woke up and said, I feel like the Chargers are going to be able to pull up the upset. So getting plus 6.5 when I think they're going to pull up the upset, this is a no-brainer pick for me. I think they're going to shock the NFL world. They're going to shock the Kansas City Chiefs. And Chiefs fans are going to go in a little bit of a spiral, being 1-2 going into week 4. But ultimately, I do think the Chargers plus 6.5 is a great pick. New York Giants, minus 2.5 over the Atlanta Falcons. If they can't destroy the Atlanta Falcons, they should not be clocking in on Sundays. And that's just how I feel about that. You got the Eli Manning jersey retirement at halftime. If that can't get you amped up, if that doesn't get you a victory in itself, then Giants have no business playing football. Giants minus 2.5 over the Falcons. Pittsburgh Steelers going against a divisional opponent at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. 2.5 points favorite. I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers minus 2.5. There's too many holes for the Cincinnati Bengals. I still don't trust that offensive line. Still don't trust that defense for the Cincinnati Bengals. Taking the Steelers minus 2.5. Lastly, but not leastly, I'm going to take the Seahawks minus 2 over the Minnesota Vikings. Without Dalvin Cook, What can Kirk Cousins do from the quarterback position? I think not very much when you don't have Dalvin Cook. When you ask Kirk Cousins to do a little too much, it means that you're putting him in harm's way, and I just don't like that way. Plus, Seattle Seahawks have been blazing on the offensive side of the ball so far. Russell Wilson, NFL record through 2 games, 146.9 QB rating. I think you're going to see that continue. Seattle -2 is my play. So real quickly, I got the Bears plus 7.5, Colts plus 5.5. I got the Chargers plus 6.5, Giants -2.5, Pittsburgh -2.5, and Seattle -2.5. That's Zach's picks of the week. Go ahead, book it. Go ahead and make yourself some cash down at the Rivers Casino. This is For the Love of Sports. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Tune in next Sunday at 11 a.m. Enjoy Football Sunday.